So we're gonna do a boring first section. Are you guys okay with that? Boring first section? I don't know, yeah? Okay, cool. Getting the press team was very boring, so we gotta just talk about that. Right. Let's talk about mentorship. As leaders, how many of you guys mentor people? And how many of you guys have a mentor? Somebody you look up to, somebody you go to for the business, somebody that's every time they speak, you take the notes real feverishly, like they're the person who guides you, right? We all need these people in our lives and in our business. The thing that I get a lot when I go places, and whether I do events here or in the States, people always want to ask questions about what do I do if somebody does something or doesn't do something. Like, what do I do if this person isn't inspired? What do I do if this person isn't motivated? What do I do if this person says they want to go fast but then they don't come? Right? Those are the most questions that I get, is how do they do stuff with the people? Well, the first thing that I want to say is get new people, right? When you're worried about what somebody is doing or not doing in terms of their own production, right? Just get new people and new solves all. That's the first thing. But when you do have those people, we do need to know, like, how can we guide them? How can we be the best upline sponsor or mentor as possible? Does that make sense? Right? All right, cool. See if this thing works. All right. So, do you qualify to be a mentor? Now, I personally don't call myself a mentor, because doing this business in my 7 years of experience has been fairly simple. And for me, it didn't really take that much to say, okay, use the products, wear the brand, and talk to people. And then the things that I learned at a leadership development weekend, or the things that I learned at a success training, or a quick start training, or extravaganza, for me, that was enough. Because as I went to all of these trainings, I started to understand that nobody was saying anything different, right? And then after I hit President's Team, it's been 5 years since then, and I still haven't heard too many things different, too many things new. So then I started saying, well, let me take some of the accountability on myself and not make it seem like I have to go find somebody to tell me a secret. Because you guys want to know the secret? There ain't no secret. None. Right? So do you qualify? Right? If you take this on to want to be a mentor, it's a big deal. It's like having kids. Do you qualify to be a parent? Right? Just because everything works don't mean that you should have kids. It's the same thing with Herbalife. Just because you sponsor somebody doesn't automatically make you a mentor. It makes you a sponsor. Does that make sense? So we're not bosses. We're not supervisors. We don't tell people what to do. We don't order people around. Anything like that, right? We have a different type of responsibility. So, the way to know if you're going to be a great mentor is, have you been, or are you right now, a proper mentee? Meaning, if you've already have a mentor, do you listen to what they say? Right? Are you already in a trusting relationship and interaction with your own mentor first? This is how you know if you're going to be a good mentor, because you've already been the student. To be the teacher, you got to be a great student first. You guys agree? All right. Now, most of the stuff that I'm going to teach you guys or say throughout the weekend is just stuff that I've just made up, right? So some of it might be right. You can take it, you can wear it, you can throw it away. If it fits, apply it, right? Do you trust your mentor? So when somebody tells you something, whether they're from the stage or in a one-on-one meeting, Do you trust that they're telling you something that's for your betterment, even though it maybe goes against like your right mind now? Do you trust that they're speaking to you from the level of where you want to be? As a presidency member, as 15K, I always speak to my downline in a way that I'm assuming they want to get to at least my level. I'm not sure about 20K yet because I'm not there yet. I'm not sure how to get to 30K yet, so I'm not going to speak to that level. But I'm assuming that even in this room, you guys at least want to get to 15K president's team. Is there anybody who does not want to get at least to president's team? If so, you got to just make some space for somebody else. We got plenty of people who would like to take your seat if you don't want to at least get to president's team. Let me go back because this is okay. Right? Are you accountable to the task as a mentee? Meaning that when you have something to do, hey, we need you to be at an event. Are you accountable to that event? Are you accountable to the amount of people that you're inviting to that event? Are you accountable to the contribution? Whatever task is given to you, like maybe your mentor is saying, hey, you really should listen to this book, or you should really read this book by Jim Rohn or Napoleon Hill, or whoever it is that they may suggest in an area that they can see that you have weaknesses or need to develop more. Do you go and immediately download the book or buy the book and read it? Do you immediately, when they say, hey, it's time to get some new health results, do you immediately start changing the way you eat, making sure that you're having at least 2 shakes a day, drinking your tea, right, to get new health results? Because we all know that the better the health results is, the better you feel about the products and the more impact and the more you're going to talk to people, right? Do you learn from your mistakes? So when you get your course correction from your upline, right, are you immediately hearing when they're telling you that this can be done different and they're showing you the errors that you're immediately going to change and switch up, right? This is a lot. This is a big deal because as you become a presidency member, you're not just a good sponsor to your own team. Sometimes you're getting trusted with a room full of people in different countries around the world, other leadership, other presidency members, Herbalife Corporate are depending on you to have this type of knowledge so that you can pass it along through. So how you receive it, how you change and how you grow from your own mentorship is going to be able to determine how good you are going to be in front of the room, on a stage, or in one-on-one conversations. Because you understand being held accountable to the task. You're learning from your mistakes, right? Do you understand the course correction? Because most people, the things that we do, and this is what you got to understand, is everybody's doing their best, right? And everybody generally wants to do good. And another thing that you got to know is most people do what makes sense to themselves. But what makes sense to a world team member sometimes doesn't make sense to a president's team member, right? Just like what makes sense to you as a coach, sometimes your clients, the stuff that they do or they say doesn't make sense to you on how they're living their life based off how you live your life or how you're guiding them to their goals. So you're coming from a place of a different sense, right? Different paradigm, a different viewpoint. So another thing that we have to know is we don't know anything. The more that you can keep in your own mind, no matter how far you go, even as a president's team member, like, hey, I'm up here. Look, I can see the president's team member right now. They're taking notes. And I don't expect to say something new or profound or different than what they've heard in their entire experience. But what they're doing is having the opportunity to remind themselves of the things that they may have already heard. It's a practice. How many times are you going to understand and listen and absorb the things to make you a professional, the things that's going to make you be legendary? It's the same amount of shots you put up in basketball. It's the same amount of miles that you want to run to go to the Olympics. How many times are you going to write use word talk? How many times are you going to, take your shake? It's that much to become, a president's team member. So, keep a blank slate, keep yourself as a sponge, because the minute that you know something, you close yourself off from learning more, even if it's on something that you know very well. Does it make sense? I told you it's going to be boring today. I'm sorry. I don't think I'm going to have any jokes in this whole section. I'm sorry. Hopefully the notes are good enough. Let's get this going. Okay, let me make sure we're at the right place. Where am I pointing this at? Where do I point this? Here? Or do I point to you? Point down. Point to you. Okay. I got a bodyguard in the way. He's, big as a mountain. Watch out. All right, let me get to the right spot. Yeah, man, how did I get so far? Go back. Back. Forward. One more. Good, okay. Okay, cool. Now, to be a mentor, that's where we're still at. Do you have the time to mentor people? Because that's a big deal. How many of you guys want a lot of time from your uplines and your president's team members, right? Understanding that no matter what level you are, you're still actually growing your own business. There's still a lot of personal production. There's still the follow-up that you're doing with your downline and your clients, and the work that it takes to operate a club, the behind the scenes of this event. Like, give it up to right now. Let's have a round of applause for all the leadership and the people that contributed to making this event happen. I personally witnessed a lot of this stuff. I do a lot of this stuff myself. Where we're at, I'm in charge of the venue. I'm in charge of the water and the catering and all the seats and chairs, and I take all the money. Like, that's my job too. So with that much responsibility and being in high demand, my time is limited in terms of how much I can give. And so in order to be effective on the big scale, you have to protect yourself. And this is for everybody right now, no matter where you're at, you have to protect your energy, you have to protect your time. It's okay to say no, right? It's okay to make other people qualify for even a response. It's okay to make people qualify to have a conversation with you, right? Because if they want to do it bad enough, then they'll do the things on the front end to be able to say, okay, I can get a little bit of time. You know what I mean? And do you have the capacity? The capacity mean is when people come to you, what's going to happen is they're going to bring their entire life to you. As an upline, you're going to go and deal with your entire team's entire life. So that means when stuff happens to their family, they look at you as the strongest person that they know. In getting the Prez team, there's a crazy internal strength to be able to be a leader of people in a volunteer army and help so many people change their lifestyles, whether through health, through their finances, and everything else. To be the leader of that, it's a very, very big deal. And you had to be very strong. Like, even in the 2 years, there was a crazy amount of strength, there was a crazy amount of resiliency, there was a crazy increasing of my capacity to be able to hold for whatever somebody was going to bring to me as they went through the things that they had to go through. As they struggled with their paradigm shift, I had to be the one who had enough personal development, right? Who had enough Mark Hughes quotes in my pocket, who had enough Jim Rohn wisdom to be able to give them something when they give me something. Hey, I'm having trouble with this. Boom, I got you, right? Hey, this is what's bothering me. Boom, this is what's happening in my family. You have to be the one to hold that. Plus, you got to increase the capacity for what you're going to have just in your own life, right? Some of you guys are married, having a wife, huge capacity. I know, I seen it. I'm not going to do it, y'all. I convinced me to stay single, right? But the things that happen with your kids, right? Huge capacity. Everybody goes through tragedy, so you have to know your own capacity limits and then stretch those. Just like you know how much weight you can lift, but you do it enough that you can eventually get a little bit stronger and lift more. You got to keep increasing your capacity, but do it slowly so that you can mentor properly, right? Because there is a such thing as a burnout. Does that make sense? You have to walk it like you talk it. So you can only teach and tell people things, right, that you personally are doing or have done. Like I can only mentor on what I've done in the past 7 years, right? The amount of volume that I've done, the amount of times I qualify for active world team, the amount of Herbalife vacations I've gone on. Like I can only mentor on those things to tell them why I did certain things and what was the mindset behind it to get me what I have received. Like, how do you qualify for this? Well, this is the type of stuff I do. And I'm going to go through a lot of this stuff later, too, as well. But what we're doing is really trying to identify the things of who you have to be able to start mentoring and leading people in as much of a way as possible. Because the faster you lead people, the faster that, they'll go, and the faster that they go, the faster that you go, right? Your accomplishments first. So do everything to get the pin first before you try to go down line and tell people. Does that make sense? Like, you got to speak from, hey, I do the volume, and this is what I'm going to teach. You got to speak from, hey, I qualified at this level of my pin. Now that I'm Get 2500, now that I'm Millionaire Team, now that I'm President's Team, I'm having that first before I want to mentor everybody and tell everybody all this stuff. A lot of people jump into mentorship before their pin jumps. And that's a mistake. Let the event, if you want to mentor somebody, mentor them into getting the event so they can sit here. Mentor people to go to the other events. Make sure there was an extravaganza. Who was in Hong Kong before extravaganza? It don't sound like y'all was at extravaganza. You mentor people to those events and let the events and the people with higher pins do all the mentoring for you. This section right here is just a good way for everybody to get everything, and then you don't have to do nothing no more for your people for at least, hopefully, like a year. That's the benefit of it. That's how I went fast. I realized that I was going to learn everything in a room like this. And I didn't wait or depend on somebody to tell me what I can sit in a room and hear already. And I could just learn as fast as I wanted to learn. Does that make sense? Right? So with that, you're talking about earning their ears. Right? 2 years to President's Team, it makes you listen, doesn't it? So I earned the listening. This is all part of being a mentorship. You have to be able to have the accomplishments. You have to be able to have the posture. You have to be able to have the contribution to the entirety first, and then people are going to listen to you. Does that make sense? And then learn together before you teach, which we just kind of touched on, right? If somebody wants you to mentor them, just learn with them. Take the opportunity to make sure that you're at the events together and learn, and then help them apply stuff that you see more. If you learn faster, then you just teach what you're learning. It's like being in the same grade together. Hey, I'm just smarter, or I pick up on the math faster so I can help you while we're in the same class. Right? Does that make sense? All right, I'm going to the next one. Okay, one more. Boop. Nice. Now, when it does come time for you to mentor somebody, you have to make sure they're worth your mentorship. We have a button in Herbalife that says earn your worth, right? You have to start determining your worth very early. Make people qualify for your time, for your energy. Make them qualify for you attending an event and hearing you speak. Like, make everybody qualify for you because of the value that you put on yourself. Right? So, the type of people that you have to be, and it also qualifies to come be mentored, are the ones who consistently show up in the fundamental ways. What's a fundamental show up? They show up in public with a button. Right? When I see people, I'm going to tell you guys a little story, right? So on Wednesday, we had a nice, lovely dinner. It was great. Heard a lot of stories, talked to the new millionaire team members, and Get 2500. It was amazing. After that, right, because I'm from California and I like to party, I said, we should go out to a club. And I'm in, Kuala Lumpur. I want to go party everywhere around the world. Like, that's my goal, that's my dream, is to have fun in as many places as possible. And so we get there, and of course, everybody looks at you because I'm black. But I'm wearing a button inside of the club. And I've been wearing buttons inside of nightclubs and pubs my entire career. I will go anywhere, fashion show, concert, everywhere I wear the button. And that's because the fundamentals of what we do is use the products, wear the brand or the button, and talk to people. So the conversations that come from the button when I'm everywhere around the world in any type of event or setting is going to happen. And there are times that even me, sometimes I'm like, should I really put the button on right now? Like, I do want to get a girl's number, and I don't know how many, and not to have her be a client, I don't know how many I'm going to get if I have a button. But then I think about who I already said I'm going to be. I already said I'm going to be this person. So I will never get caught not branded. Ever. So, and maybe you guys should take that on too. Just even if it's a little baby pin, something, just keep a couple of them. And so we go to this club, and my presidential self, I have a button on. And I'm with Audrey Chan. She's very presidential. She talks more than anybody I ever met. She has a button on. And I'm in there, right? And there's this girl, she's staring at me. And of course she's gonna stare at me like, I was wearing my colors. I was branded, burgundy, I was looking good. And I go and I sit by her. And she's like, oh, I know who you are. I do Herbalife. I'm a millionaire team member. And I said, I can't tell. Because the fundamental way to show up as a millionaire team member, even if you're drinking, is to have a button on. Right? So when a person comes up to me, and even if we're, at an event, or I'm in a new city and they know that I'm in there, or we're at extravaganza or anything else like that, and they want to ask a question, the first thing I do is I look on their clothes. And if they don't have a button, I'm like, well, there is a very big clue and a hint on why you have a question for me right now. This is a very big clue and hint on why your business may not look the way you want to look, is because you're not understanding that you're around people, and at that moment you could be inviting people to ask you how, or you could be inviting people to whatever your button says for them to be engaged with you, right? That's a fundamental way of showing up. A fundamental way to show up is on time to the event today. The fundamental ways is buying your ticket early to go to extravaganza or leadership training, right? Those are the people that you take the time in when you don't have those conversations with them. That stuff is already done. I don't talk to my front line about getting their tickets to events. Our extravaganza is next week. I don't ask nobody on my team if they got their ticket. If they're serious, if they're like a supervisor already, if they're a world team, if they have aspirations of being millionaire team, why would I ask that person if they have a ticket when that's a fundamental way? That's like me saying, did you brush your teeth today? Based off, sometimes you gotta ask, based off what you smell when they start talking to you. But in general, you would assume that there's some type of hygiene. In general, I'm assuming that you're gonna go to the events that all I've known is the successful people say, hey, I go to events and I don't miss events. So if I hear that once, why would I have to hear that more than once for me to understand that I should have that same philosophy? That's your learning curve. How many times do you have to hear something before you adopt that philosophy of the people who keep saying the things that you keep hearing? Does that make sense? Somebody wake him up in the hoodie. Just tap him on the head. Just boop. Yep, him. Just tap him, wake him up. Him, just tap him. Yeah, that one. No, him. Just tap him. Right there. Yep, just hit him. Just throw something at him. Yeah! I know it was gonna be, I knew it was gonna be boring, but I'm trying to liven it up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Got you, dog. Matter of fact, come here, I got something for you. Come here. Tell him, come. Lift off. Come. Fast, like an athlete, fast. Knock it off, fast, come. Yeah. Welcome. And you got the sweater on too, yeah! Give it up for it. All right. Downline analysis, right? So these are the people who qualify. They're clear on a specific goal. So think about the people who you have in your downline that you want to help, that you feel are a star, and think about yourself. Are you clear on a specific goal? And not just clear off of what pin level you want to hit. That's easy, right? We all know, hey, I want to be Founder's Circle. I want to have all the diamonds. I want to make my royalty be as big as Jorge and Disney, and I want to be like New Chairman's Club, and I want to go on all those. Like, we know that. That's like not specific, because the specifics is the details. Like, do you have a specific amount of people that you want to sponsor every month? Do you have a specific amount of people that you want to talk to every day or every week? Do you have a specific amount of people that you want to service? That's your goal, that gives you the most profit and the most volume to optimize the nutrition club that you're in. Are you specific with that? Do you have a specific body fat percentage that you want to get down to, and weight goal and body image that's ideal for you? Because we all know you want to be press team, but when you're mentoring people in the micro. You're mentoring them off of what did they just do last month. And when they come with you, they have to come with some type of number, they have to come with some type of proof. You have to come with evidence. Because one of the things, and I want you guys to write this down, is you can't mentor a zero. So how many people did you talk to today? Zero can't mentor you. How much volume, how did you put in an order? How many clients did you get this month or this week? Zero, I can't mentor you. How many people did you invite to the nutrition club or to the fit camp or to the HOM, Herbalife Opportunity Meeting? How many people did you invite? Zero, I can't mentor you. Now we can take a step back and we can say, well, what can we do to make sure that we can get into a good invitation mode? Like, how do we start talking more? But then that's not really mentorship. That just goes back to the quick start beginning trainings of coaching. Okay, if you understand how to invite, then why aren't you? And if you don't know why you're not going to be doing the invites and why you remain a zero, or why this person remains a zero with these type of people, right? Zeros is the people that they should have already engaged with. They should have already had an interaction with the products with, or they had an interaction with the events. If they have zeros, how can you mentor somebody? That when people are come to you like that, it lets you know that you should just go get some more people too as well. Find some new people who eventually will not be zeros. Make sense? They have to be committed to the message. And in Herbalife, no matter where you go around the world, the messages are really, really, really simple, right? What do we have? Like use word talk, fun, simple, magical, simply the best, for things to change, you should change, frontline the world. Those messages are healthier, even the buttons say it now, healthier and happier. Like, are you committed to staying in that small realm of your conversation? The thing that you guys are going to see over the course of this weekend, and you might even see like on my page, for the most part, is I stay right in the fundamental, I stay right in the very, I would say, pure aspect of Herbalife without all the other stuff. Because that's how I learned. And if it worked for me to go as fast as I did, which 2 years is legendary by any standards, then I don't want to change too much from that. If Jim Rohn said it or Mark Hughes said it, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty much what I'm going to say in most capacities. And then maybe I can glean a couple things of myself to be able to use. But in general, I'm very committed to the message. I'm very committed to like energy. I'm very committed to the fun of what we do. But I'm also very committed to the big vision of what can happen and change in your life if you can follow a few simple things and just have a bigger vision for other people, right? Like just stay committed to the message. And those people who do that, those are the ones who deserve to be mentored. And finally, the ones who get to the spot. The people around me who moved the fastest was always within this range of me. I could put my arm around them. I could touch them. Right? So every week, there's things that we're doing, and the people who showed up weekly, right? Even if it's 3, 4, 5 days a week, we have an event, whether it's a fit camp, whether it's a training, or anything else like that. The people who were there, they got the most. They were able to learn from the event. They were able to learn in a pre-meeting. They were able to learn in a post-meeting. And the weird thing is once you start Herbalife, we only talk about Herbalife.
Yes.
So when everything's done and we're just sitting around and we're just having a talk and a conversation, this conversation is still at a level where people who can eavesdrop are going to be able to like listen to what successful people are talking about. They're going to be able to start changing their language and based off them listening to how you speak to other people. So my mentorship personally has only been with people that I can touch a lot, right? That I can, wait, that didn't sound right. Just because I'm American don't mean I'm like Trump and them. Hold on, let me say that again. The people that I mentor were the people that I could see in person. That's better, right? More often. Because they're there, right? Each event is an opportunity for you to be learning about the importance of events. Does that make sense? All right, cool, we go on to the next one. How to mentor in Herbalife, which is very different, right? There's, business mentors and leadership mentors around the world that do their thing. But what we do is a little bit different, right? Because we're like heavily involved in our business. It's a personality business. It's a relationship business. It's a family business. How many of you guys have family members in your downline or upline, or unfortunately they're on their sideline. Oh, that's nice. How'd you get over there? It's very different in Herbalife how we mentor. Next one. Okay. So, these are some of the things you got to do. You got to take the pictures if you need them. So you got to learn their DMO to hold them accountable to. DMO, daily methods of operations. Everybody does things differently, right? Because some people are doing their a nutrition club, so what they do and what's required of them daily is different if they're doing online weight loss challenges. If somebody is running fit camps, what their DMO is going to be different from somebody who's using strictly social media or so everything is so different. You have to learn what makes the most sense. And just the crazy thing about Herbalife is no matter what somebody's doing, like the intentions daily are pretty much all the same across the board, right? Who are we following up with? How many new people are we getting to introduce them to a shake at the club, a shake at a fit camp, order products and get a shake so that they can sign up for a wellness challenge, right? Everybody's doing the same thing anyway, so it's kind of like Herbalife has a cheat code that you already know what everybody should be doing daily. But everything works different for everybody's schedule. Some people are doing this part-time, so they're doing it around school, job, family, etc. So learn their schedule, right? And then say, okay, these are the type of things that make the most sense from the level that you're at and your understanding to help you be successful or go faster or have more success, right? Or be manageable. And then if I know what we're supposed to be doing weekly, when we meet again next week, or we meet again next month, or if I call you tomorrow, I know what should have been done by the time we meet. And if it's not done, you either get a chance to lose the benefit of being mentored, or we course correct, and then we get back into it again. Does that make sense? Right? You have to stay, and you have to tell everybody else to stay connected to what the overall goal is. Who knows what FLW means? Frontline the world. That's the overall goal. Frontline the world. Every time I go to Herbalife Honors, #1 person, right, speaks, founder circle, been in 30-something years, Susan Peterson. I've heard her speak dozens of times, and she always says, first line, first line, first line, front line, first line, first line, front line, first line, in her little Texas accent. And she gets up there and she speaks very simply to you. She's sitting in a big old white chair, and she always downplays herself because she's blonde. And it's perfect because she wants you to know that you don't have to be a genius. She wants you to know that there's nothing very complicated about what we do. If you ever got one single client, if you ever signed up one distributor, you literally have to only do that. If you just did that a lot more, you could be bad at mentoring. You could be bad at following up. The numbers will catch up to you. You could accidentally work your way to a president's team by at least just talking to a lot of people and getting a lot of people signed up. So stay connected to what the overall goal is. And for me, my job is to help people figure out a philosophy where frontlining the world makes sense to them. So one of the ways that it made sense to me was, so I started Herbalife, right? 2012, and my health results were great. We're gonna get into way more of the story later, so you guys can see some pictures and we can kind of talk about some of the things that we did. But I went to go talk to one of my best friends, How many of you guys have your best friends signed up in a business or they started products or anything, right? Anybody? How many of you guys' best friends are not in the business or... Unfortunately, my best friends that I had before Herbalife, we don't hang out because I'm in Malaysia and I don't see them very much because I'd rather travel the world and they can't go because they don't qualify, that they broke. No money. So before I had the money, I go to my friend, and of course I got him to sign up. So he signed up to support me. 7 years, he still never ordered one single volume point.
Wow.
And, you know, his girlfriend at the time needed about 1,000 volume points for her goals. And the mother of his children needed a whole lot of volume points, you know, to change her life. And then he needed the money, right? His job was really bad. So we grew up where we would always dream about what we wanted to be and like how we wanted to, not what we wanted to be, but how we wanted to live when we got older, right? How many of you guys used to sit on the porch or hang out with your friends and you imagine like, we have a boat and we're gonna fly and we're gonna go on vacations and we're gonna do all this stuff together. But we didn't really know how that was going to happen. And you know, through watching Mark Hughes videos, you see these things and you be around other people that do Herbalife, and a lot of them always say, you know, I found it. Or they say for you to, you know, calm down because you found it. And it didn't take me very long before I realized that I found it. And of course I'm talking to my friends like, hey, of course it was gonna be either me or my brother that was going to have the idea or be able to get the opportunity where we are all going to be able to have some type of success. So I'm like really excited. I already dropped some weight. I'm probably down like 15 pounds, you know, ripped up. I already got some clients, probably already made $2,000. I'm telling them all this stuff. I'm saying, yo, you gotta go, man. We gotta come. You gotta come to this stuff. Like, it's crazy. You gotta come to this workout. You gotta try the shakes. You gotta do all this stuff. All right, cool. I understand people are very skeptical, right? And this is just how my philosophy kind of started with Frontline in the World. Besides the fact that somebody said it, I still had to attach my own personal philosophy to it so that it could become mine, so that I can do it. And then so when I said it, I had already earned the listening of why I say it. Does that make sense? So I'm talking to him. You don't believe? All right, cool. It didn't take me but about 6 months. I was making like $5,000 a month, you know, which is what, about 20,000 ringgits. You know, 6 months from the day I started. Fast. I like money, right? And I go to him, I'm like, yo, you gotta do this business. And he said, yo, cuzzo, how do you make money if everybody in the city signs up in Herbalife? And I was like, first it kind of caught me off guard because I'm still new, you know, and so I'm not learning everything. I didn't really get it. And then I said, oh, because they're going to be on my team. I said, I'm going to sign up the people who sign up the people. You want to take over the entire world, you can't sign up everybody. But you have to sign up as many people and get them to be indoctrinated with the idea that they should sign up a whole lot of people. If I say Frontline the World and you say Frontline the World, then we got half the world to Frontline. We tell you to Frontline the World and you Frontline the World. Now we each got to Frontline a quarter of the world or a quarter of the city. And the more people we get with the philosophy, then we don't have to frontline as much to be able to get the entire world in our organization. So I started thinking like, yo, yes, I do want everybody in my city. I want everybody in San Bernardino to be signed up in Herbalife. And maybe they're gonna be 5 levels down, or maybe they're gonna be 6 levels down. But I'm going to be the person that signs up the people who signs up whoever's going to sign up in my city. And it's great to see that come into fruition now where I could go around and somebody tells me that they're already a client, or they tell me that they just signed up, and they start telling me who their sponsor is, and I'm like, okay, trying to figure it out. And all of these people who like randomly see the button, or we see a water bottle, all of these people are randomly somehow in my business already, right? So, but I had to find some type of reason for that to have to be my philosophy, besides the fact that somebody who had a big check was saying, frontline the world, right? So somebody who stays overall connected to what the goal is, that's the person who's gonna qualify to be mentored. And you guys have a great advantage. Like in the US, we have like all kinds of different stuff going on. We have preferred members, which are clients that sign up, which isn't the same as like a distributor who signs up. But right now, you guys can just sign up everybody and have everybody order. What I learned, and maybe the philosophy works and maybe the philosophy doesn't work, is I would love if I had 1 million people ordering products for 50%. That would be okay, right? Who would like if they had 1 million people ordering at 50%? Even at 25%, right? New people signed up. I would have 1 million people. And it's likely that you'll get more people to order more products if they were able to utilize the discount of being an Herbalife member. Does that make sense? So you get a chance to differentiate who can who can distribute, who's going to be serious. But you can own everybody. If they sign up with you, they'll always be in your business if ever they decide to actually do the business. But most people around the world who have a Herbalife ID are just consumers, right? So if you have an idea to sign up 10 people a month, right, you might have between 1 and 2 that are actually going to turn into like supervisors, or at least be on the way to doing a supervisor. And however long that takes, it might take the full year, or they might do it in 1 month or 2 months, accumulated. But you're only probably going to get 1 to 2, probably 1 out of 10 are going to be people that you're going to have frontline as supervisors. But if you're committed to getting 10 a month, then you can end the year with 8 to 10 to 12 new frontline supervisors, but that's out of 120 or 130 overall people that you have. But if you have that many people in your business, in your downline that are not supervisors, and you can keep a way for them to be followed up with, that's all your personal volume. Which means that you have a high wholesale check, which means that the volume is high, so you qualify for VIP at all the events, which means you get to sit in better seats at Extravaganza, which means you qualify for your regional vacation, which means you can make it to Active World Team because you're hitting that 10,000 volume points, right? Which means that because those are your statistics, it's easier for you to talk about the importance of frontline in the world. Everything's full circle. Make sense? Did you guys follow that? Yes. All right. I'm going to ask again, did you guys follow that? Yes. Okay. So, set up a schedule of accountability, right? Some people you might have to have an accountability daily, weekly, or monthly, right? If you have a gym partner, that might be a daily accountability type of situation, right? Hey, we meet up, we go to the gym every morning. I have a millionaire team, 7,500, brand new, like 2-3 months ago. When he first started, we would meet up in the morning and go, I was gonna work out anyway. But now this was a way for us to be able to work, talk to other people, right? I seen something special in him. Obviously, it manifested now, him being very, very close to the president's team. But we had a little daily accountability. So those are the type of situations where you might have somebody daily accountable. Somebody who's working in the club with you. That's like daily accountability, because How many wellness evaluations and appointments are you scheduling? How many did you go out and do invites in this hour or two before or after your shift? Like, how many shakes are you making? How many invites to the club? You know, those type of things are daily accountability measures that you can have with somebody that you have some type of mentorship with. Weekly might be how many people are you bringing to the weekly HOM or the quick start training that you have, or this whatever customer event, right? Whatever this initial exposure that you're going to give people to. Fit camp is, you might have a fit camp a couple times a week, but you're having accountability for that week. Okay, we have fit camp Tuesday, Thursday. Well, what's the accountability on how many people we invited and that actually came Tuesday and Thursday? And it's not always about how many people show up, but it is about how many messages you sent out, how many people you followed up with, like, oh yeah, I'm expecting 2 or 3. If 2 or 3 comes, hey, we get stood up all the time. Like, it happens. But are you doing the work? So those are the type of situations where you might have weekly accountability. Does that make sense? And then monthly accountability, maybe this is somebody who's not in your team. Maybe this is somebody who, you see a lot more and you just have a bigger goal on, hey, we're just increasing our volume. What type of volume are we having? How many people are we having at our success training seminars, which are monthly, or whatever monthly event that you are able to invite guests to? Then you have that type of accountability. Finishing out, are you qualifying full royalty? Are you qualifying to collect your production bonus when you're a tab team member? Like, that's that different monthly accountability. You start measuring and gauging what the organization looks like off of monthly. So you got to figure out what makes sense for each person that you're going to have some type of mentor or relationship with, so that you can hold them accountable on these schedule times. Good? Another thing that you want to do is just do not make people wrong. Right? If you're right, like I'm right in the club and I'm wearing my button, and the middle team member, she's wrong by not wearing a button, I'm not going to make her wrong. I'm just going to show why I am where I am because of what I'm doing, or what's going to prevent her from, getting what she wants by not doing it. But you don't make people wrong. You don't want people to feel bad when you are accountable. You just want to let them know that there's standards. You just want to let them know that there's like structure. You just want to let them know that there's like a certain mark that you have to live up to and operate in. But you don't want to ever make people wrong, because you still want the relationship to continue and you still want them to be pleased about the tough love. And at the end of the day, you do have to come with, some type of loving manner to let them know that you're only this way because of what they said that they want. Right? Which is a requirement to get mentored anyway. Remember, you're not the boss. I don't boss my people around. I don't yell at people. I tease them a little bit, but that's because this section is boring, right? But you're not a boss. And, most of us are doing Herbalife because we don't ever want to have a boss again, right? So you don't want to be somebody's boss. I don't even get on people about their own volume. And I've witnessed this in, other organizations where people are like yelling and screaming. When you start screaming about where people are with their volume and all this other stuff, and you want to check on their points, that's when it becomes about you. That's when you're worried about what your organization is and how much you're going to get paid. They're not going to respect you like that, right? I never care where somebody's volume is. I care as much as they care. If you're doing a little bit of volume and I know that you need the money, but you're not willing to go retail it, well, I can't care more about if you're hungry or not than you can care. I can't care more about your kids than you, where I'm going to be like, hey, do it for your kids. Well, maybe you want your kids to be hungry. I don't know. If they don't want to qualify for big events, right? If they have a team already and they don't want to up their own personal volume to grow the team and to be an example for their team, I can't make them. Maybe they'll only be a world team member forever. or until the decision is made for them not to be. I'll let them be who they are. You can't squeeze juice out of a rock. You can't send chickens to Eagle School. Now, some eagles might just have a chicken disguise and they're going to grow into like an eagle. Who knows? You know, but 2 years to Prez Team isn't for everybody. But Prez Team is available for everybody, but we know everybody won't go. Some people in this room will not be here next year. Some people in this room will not be in the business in 5 years. And it's only because I've witnessed it and I've heard stories about it where I know that it's gonna happen, we're all gonna experience it, and it's okay. You gotta have a short memory, right? The bad things, have a short memory about it, right? Oh, today I had 0, nobody came, I actually was going through some things, I didn't even go talk to anybody. Cool, short memory, today's a new day. It's just like if you were an alcoholic and you went to a program, or you were in drug rehab, they always tell you take it one day at a time. So for you, even, and me, I was going through that when I started Herbalife. So I had like a little chip and everything, and I'm gonna get into a little bit of that story too as well, but I was battling alcoholism when I started Herbalife, right? And still to this day, sometimes it's hard to control. But because I was already in this little mode of thinking about one day at a time, I took Herbalife the same way, so a lot of the stuff that you guys are going through, your trials and tribulations, are already giving you these philosophies for you to have that you can apply, but you may not just be seeing a connection on what you could be doing and what you could be using. So I'm thinking about one day at a time, so whether I got a good client or something, like it was great if somebody told me that they were going to give me money today, and then they didn't, and they stopped returning my calls, it was a short memory, like I didn't take it personally. I just was like, okay, cool, that happened yesterday, and then today is going to be a great day, or this happened today, tomorrow is going to be a great day, it's going to be a better day, I just get to go attack it. So you have, as a mentor, have to have a short memory, and you have to instill into the people that's around you to have a short memory, especially about the things that are obstacles or what could be classified as obstacles. There's no such thing as an obstacle, right? This stage isn't an obstacle. I can jump up this stage because of my paradigm that I live in. But for some people, they wouldn't be able to get on this stage with stairs. Like they live a life where their knees are bad. They live a life where their ankles are bad. They live a life with vertigo. Who knows what it is? But who you are determines if there's an obstacle or not. So if you're taking things one day at a time, and you can show other people to take things one day at a time, it's going to greatly help, people getting out of this discouraged mindset. You got to know your limits based off qualification and longevity. And this goes back to, speaking from your own pen level, right? I only can speak from, 7 years and, about 4 months of business, Herbalife business experience. That's all I know. So when I meet people, whether they're, higher in the marketing plan than me or not, if they've been in a little bit longer, then I tend to listen to them more, because the longer somebody's in the business, the closer to Mark Hughes' philosophy they are, right? Somebody who's been in 20 years, they were in when Mark Hughes was alive. So there's a little bit of something else that they have that we're not exposed to, right? Somebody who's been in 25 years, I know Millionaire team members, I hear them, and they're wise because they're coming from a different type of place based on how close they were, right? Jim Rohn passed 2009, so 10 years, people who were around then, I know people personally who spoke with Jim Rohn and rode in cars with Jim Rohn and, was a speaker liaison and helped them backstage at events. So they were able to bring stories off of, not just who we see on the videos, but who he was in person. And what, we all kind of want to know that, what do you say on the side? What's the stage presence? What's the real? And there's people like that you can find and that exist like that. So they can speak to so you have to understand your own longevity and speak from that place only. I'm not an expert. I feel like I'm a baby in Herbalife. I still 7 years on, I feel like I'm a baby, right? Maybe it's baby face. Right? And then I'm 15K, so there's a limit to who I'm going to portray myself to be because it's a 15K presidency member. It's not Chairman's Club, it's not 30K, it's not 20K, right? It's 15K. Grateful for sure, right? But I'm not gonna speak beyond that. Make sense? Let's go to the next one, my guy. That's not it, is it? Is that it? Is that it? That was it? Oh. I tried to drag the section out a lot. It's not that much to really talk about with a lot of stuff that we do, you guys. So, what I want you guys to do is go over your notes a lot about some of the stuff that I said and take it to heart about how you're interacting with your team, right? Take it to how much you're giving, and the biggest thing, you guys, is the capacity, right? Don't go beyond your capacity. Grow your capacity as much as you can. Thank you.